At the beginning of 2010, a small group of enthusiasts coined the phrase, "Can you imagine? Can you imagine these types of cars racing again in the Bahamas?" The Bahamas Speed Weeks took place from 1954 until 1966 and attracted many of the great cars and drivers of the period, finishing in the early 60s with this, the Ford GT40, one of the greatest cars of all time. During the last year, we've spent countless hours. We've visited the Bahamas, we've spent time in Nassau, we've talked to ex-drivers, team managers and many people who were involved both on the island and in the United States of America and Europe with the original Speed Weeks. We've gathered an enormous amount of information. In December of 2010, we finally arranged to visit the Bahamas and meet with the various ministers, who were probably even more enthusiastic than we could have imagined. So we can now say it's not just imagination. The Bahamas Speed Week revival is going to take place in December 2011. As the name implies, Speed Week will take in a complete week of events throughout the island. The famous Arawak Key fish restaurants will form a wonderful backdrop, and the cars will form up in front of them, ready to relive and recreate the Le Mans start. The drivers will sit in the cars and their co-drivers will dash across the road, tap them on the helmet, and they will rush off to take the first lap of the Arawak Key circuit, especially created for this event. Amongst them will be Sir Stirling Moss, who has kindly agreed not only to be patron of the event, but to bring his wonderful little Italian Oscar sports car and be one of the competitors. Hopefully his passenger will be Sir Arthur Fuchs, the present Governor-General of the island. The competing cars will return from their opening lap to enter the paddock and mingle with the Auto Club cars, which will already have been on display. Meanwhile, there'll be a fry-up prepared for all the competitors, the marshals, the officials and everyone involved in the event, ready to kick off what we hope will be a wonderful week of entertainment for the island. Following this cookout, the competing cars will be driven back through the streets of Nassau, meet at their hotel and prepare themselves for the welcome reception in the evening. Thursday is Island Tour Day. The competing cars will set off and take in a 40 to 50 mile tour of all the beauty spots of the island. In particular, we have been invited to visit Lyford Key, home of James Bond, or Sean Connery at the very least. We'll gather at Lyford for a concours d'elegance, a wonderful lunch alongside the sea, and be able to relax while the cars are judged by some local stars. Thursday evening sees us return to the hotel for a buffet dinner. Following the dinner, we'll be showing some rare films from Speed Weeks of the past. Our Nassau racing legends, some of the past drivers, will be there in attendance and will tell some of the tales of the parties, the racing and anything else they feel they can reveal to us. Friday will give an opportunity for the drivers, the car owners, the guests, the sponsors to get involved in some of the wonderful things you can do on the islands. There's potential for powerboat rides, diving, golfing and all other forms of relaxation. During the afternoon, the competing cars will form up in Bay Street. Bay Street is the main street in Nassau. It contains most of the high-end stores that you would expect to see in any great city all around the world. We shall be closing Bay Street for only the second time and expect large crowds to gather to look at the cars and hopefully involve themselves in some retail therapy. Saturday will see the competing cars return to the historic site of Oaks Field, where the event started many years ago. There'll be a timed sprint with the cars running one at a time against the clock. Some of the cars will visit Albany, site of a new golf course created by Tiger Woods amongst others. Following the time trials, the cars will reassemble on the lawn for a glamorous concours d'elegance. Following the concours, the guests will ready themselves for the high spot of the week, the gala dinner, which will include the auction of promises for various Bahamian charities. These will be the Ramfully Children's Home, the Nazareth Centre, the Bahamas Cancer Society and the AIDS Foundation. Sunday's race day. We return to Arawak Quay, where we've created a 1.1 mile circuit. The circuit includes some nice straights, some exciting corners and some tricky chicanes. Each car will have 2 timed runs against the clock. At the end of the day, all of the competing drivers, the guests, the teams, sponsors and all those who've been involved in the week will assemble together for a drinks reception and a grand prize giving.